record to cloud, you should probably get a notification. Okay, so these are the results so far. We've got 12 people, including me, so that's 11 in this meeting. And the question that I asked is, please rate your confidence in using Teams. So it has been dubbed as a advanced session, but I will try and cover the basics. But at the same time, I don't want to really bore some of the people that have scored a higher score over here. So today we're focusing on Microsoft Teams, which is essentially a communication and collaboration platform. But we are going to focus on Microsoft Teams for education, because there is a slight difference between Microsoft Teams for the corporate world, for companies, and Microsoft Teams for education. Microsoft Teams for education has a number of features that are not available in the corporate version of Teams. And we're going to be looking at these in more detail. So for those that, this is Microsoft Teams that you see in front. I'm not going to show you how to log into this or how to access it. We did this in the previous week. But what I will show you is some tips and tricks that I think will be useful at this level. Okay, so what you see in front of you is the grid view. And just to let you know that with the grid view, you can move these in order of relevance or importance. What's also quite useful is that, let me join, and I'm going to show you my real tenant here so you can get an idea. So this is my real tenant, and the one I'm showing you behind here is really a dummy tenant. There's no real data here. But over here, we have a real tenant. You can see I'm an owner of many teams. And you can see that I've changed these because it's very important to visually just, my eye goes into what exactly is this. So what I did over here is I went and changed these pictures, which I think is really important, especially when you're a member or an owner of many teams. So that's what we'll do here as the first thing that we'll learn. So if we click on those three dots, they're called the ellipses, the dot, 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 and then we click on edit team. What we can do is, of course, change the name of the team, but we can also choose one of these icons. What I normally do here is I'll start PowerPoint just to let you know. So in PowerPoint, and it really depends. You might just leave it alone. It depends how many teams you're a member of. If you are a member of loads of teams, then it's worth going through this process. So what I normally do is I'll just go to PowerPoint, I'll format the background, and I'll choose a solid fill and choose one of these pastoral colors maybe. All right. And then over here, I'll put the name of my class. Just one sec. Just give me one. Sorry, apologies for that. Yeah, so as I was saying, we're in PowerPoint. I've just changed the background. You might want to change this font to a really thick font. I know one called Impact, which is quite thick, right? And then you might just want to add some type of icon in there, right? So whatever it is that you're teaching. So basically, I don't know, even if it's like, business, you might choose one of these things here. Right, you might make it much larger. This has to be really large. Control right bracket and left bracket makes it larger and smaller. You might change these colors to white. over here. Right, so once you've done all of that, imagine, what you'll do is just go File, Save As. And then when you do a File, Save As, you'll decide where you want to save this document. And you'll say, you know, 1005 graphic, right? And then over here is the important bit. Let me zoom in. And this is a really good shortcut to know. Windows Plus and Windows Minus, especially when you're teaching online, in terms of, you know, accessibility. So your students will be perhaps accessing these lessons on a mobile phone. So it's a really low, you know, resolution. So make sure that, you know, you're zooming in and zooming out where appropriate. So that's a Windows Minus and a Plus. So over here, we're going to change PowerPoint and we're going to go all the way to where it says JPEG. And that's an image format that's quite well known. So we'll go click on save. So once we say this one, once we've done that, that's it, we're done. We can now go back here, click on edit team. And then all we need to do is just upload that image and navigate to where we saved that image. So there it is, 1005 graphic, double click there and then click on save. All right, as easy as that. We've just done that. So now even your students will know what the name of the team is. I wouldn't leave it as the default. Not the best of designs. We were done in a hurry, but you get the idea. So that's really one thing that you should do over here. And for those that are starting their journey in Teams, please don't forget this really helpful area called help. Why? Because over here, you can click here, click on the training. And in the training, what you can do is access all of these bite-sized videos that show you how to use all the different aspects of Teams. And because this is an educational version of Teams, the videos are focused on the educational version of Teams. So how to create assignments and how to do a number of things. One thing that is really particularly useful is this download Teams education guide. So if you click on there, it will download this lovely PDF that will explore the Teams interface and explore all the different aspects of Microsoft Teams for education. So really, really useful stuff here. Okay, so going back here, as I said, so, you know, a few people have just accessed this meeting, this training, and this is dubbed for Microsoft Teams. So I'm skipping all the basic parts of how we can access Teams and the rest. That should have been covered in the basics. So what we've done is we've just learned how to change the icon here and even create our own image in PowerPoint. So once we're in there, just to let you know that you can create teams on the top right. And when we create a team, you get 4 different types of teams. Now, here's the question. Either in your own institution, they will ask you to create your own teams, or this process will be automated in the back end. So it really depends. So in many organizations, this process has been automated. So you'll find a class with the students populated in there for you. So when you click on Teams, you'll see that your team has already been created for you and the students already populated. If that's not the case, you will need to create your own team. How we create our own team is if you look on the top right where it says join or create a team, we can create a team. When you choose create a team, you get 4 different types of teams. For teaching, learning, and assessment purposes, we always choose the class type team. Why? It gives us the class notebook and it gives us the assignments feature. Additionally, it gives us something called insights, which is basically data analytics. It lets you know which of your students has been digitally inactive. So just let's go through this process real quick. So click on Teams, go to the top right, create a team, click on create a team over here, and we click on class type team. We give it a name. So it's a really good idea to have a uniform naming convention that probably follows your register. So mine would be something like this: 1005, group E, for example, and it'll be normally I'll say, BTech level 3, 1005, group D, and then it'll be yeah, something like that. Okay, so they know what it is. Of course it'll be ICT here. All right, so I might even copy that, so when I create my other teams, it's got the same naming conventions. So I'll click on next, and here I'm just going to have to add a few students. As I said, depending on the setup on the back end, this might be done for you, but if it's not, and your students are part of the Active Directory, you won't have to write their full names. It'll just show up from the Active Directory. All right, so let's just add just 3 students for now, but you can see how easy and fast this process is. So I'm going to click on add and then click on close. So now we have a team, and by default, when we create a team, you have one general channel. Really, really important that you add additional channels. We've covered this in the basics, so you're going to see that I'm going to be speeding this process up. So we create channels, and channels are a way of grouping conversations. So we click on those 3 dots and add a channel, and normally I would create channels that correspond to the units that we deliver. So imagine this is a communication unit, communication, click on add. As easy as that. Click on another, click on the 3 dots, add channel, and it'll be, say, unit 2, I don't know, e-commerce. All right. There you go. So that's how you create channels. So I'll add more here. I'll add one more, unit 3, networking. Okay, so we've got 3 channels, and normally I'll have about 9 that correspond to the amount of units we deliver, and each teacher should be responsible for that particular channel. All right, so when we go to each channel, it's got its own filing area. So each filing area is specific to that channel, so it allows you to organize and manage your files. All right, any questions so far?
No, thank you.
Yeah, if you're all good, if you have any questions, please do ask. All right, so as I said, you got files for each of these channels, so it's a really good idea. What you have to appreciate is this: Teams is called Teams because it's designed for a team. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that any files that you upload into these channels, let me upload a file, any type of file, is collaborative. What do I mean by that? If I double click on this file and I've just uploaded a PowerPoint presentation, by default, this PowerPoint presentation is read and write. Okay, it's a term that they use, comes from databases, meaning that this file is editable. Now, in many cases, you may not want this file editable. But what you do have to appreciate is that any file that you upload into a team is by default read and write, meaning that your students will be able to edit this. They might all of them open it up and they're all editing and changing your original PowerPoint. So in the general channel, and only in the general channel, there is a special folder in the files area. It's called class materials. There it is. It's just popped out. It might take a few minutes to be created. This folder and anything you put in there is read only. So if I went and uploaded that PowerPoint in there, as you can see, it's a read only. It means the students can only view it and not edit it. And in a lot of cases, this is what you would want. Any questions so far with regards to that?
No, thank you.
Yeah, anyone else?
All good.
All good. Okay. So as I said, anything you put up there is read only, and in most of your PowerPoint resources, you will want that. Now, here's the question. How do we make a file that we uploaded here from read and write to read only? What would we need to do? So my advice is perhaps over here, we'll go to that particular channel, and over here we'll create a folder, right? And we'll say resources, and we don't want the resources to be amended by the students. So if we can change this from read write to read only. Anyone tell me how we could go about doing that?
Do you click on the ellipsis?
Yes. What would we need to open this in? What we'll need is we need SharePoint. And essentially every team, behind every team is a SharePoint site. So this is where all your files are stored and managed. So here in the files area, we'll click them, we'll click on the ellipsis, or we can click on the top where it says open in SharePoint. When we open this in SharePoint, we will be able now to change the permission settings to read only. So if you look on the right over here, let me zoom in to show you what's going on. Right on the right over here, you can see has access. Right, if that's not showing up, just click on the eye. Click on the eye, the information, and then what we'll need to do is we'll need to click on manage access. When we click on manage access, we'll get all of these things. We can see that these are guests. It is guests. So it's saying, come on, where can we see it's guests? Visitors. In other words, guests can only view, but my members, can you see that? My members, let me zoom in. My members can edit. Now we don't want them to edit that folder. We just want them to view. So what you would do here is you'd click on can edit to can view. So now they can view that. So if I just press F5, I'm not sure if the icon will change, but anything that is in that folder, should be now read only. All right, so anything that I upload, my students won't be able to change it. And it's such an important thing to do, because, you know, you put up Word documents and you'll see your students change it. Are you all happy with that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's how you change something from read and write to read only. So now going back to the general channel, remember we're focusing on the educational version of Teams. So the educational version of Teams offers these things that are not available in any other type of team. All right, so let's have a look at them here. So you've got the class notebook, you've got your assignments, and you've got your grades. And this is what differentiates Teams, right, between Zoom. Zoom does not have any of these capabilities, right? Does not have any of these capabilities, right? So it doesn't have the class notebook, which is basically OneNote for your class. It doesn't have the assignments. It doesn't have the grades. So let's start by creating an assignment, because I think that's probably one of the most important aspects of a class type team. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the assignments. All right, and I'm going to show you how to create a very basic assignment. So we click on the assignments and we click on get started. Click on create and we're going to click on assignment. If you previously created an assignment, you don't have to recreate the wheel. And what I mean by that is that you can say from existing, and you can choose one of the assignments that you've created in another class. So you don't have to go through that whole process. But for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to create an assignment from scratch. So we're going to click on create and then assignment. So we named this assignment. So let's say an English task 1, right? An example, we can put a category. This will help us to filter out some of the assignments later on. It's a good idea. Say it belongs to unit 4, right? Press enter. So we can put categories in there. Instructions. This is where you would place your instructions with regards to the task. So you can, it's not the best sort of dialog box, and it gives you, I think this slightly needs to be improved. It's not a very rich text editor, but I'll say, please complete the task provided and make sure you check. And what I like to do is there's a shortcut on Windows, and it's Windows H. And what Windows H does is it brings out the dictate functionality. So we have dictate within the Microsoft Office 365, and it's very accurate, but they've also introduced dictate within your operating system. Not as good yet as the ones in Word and PowerPoint, but it is pretty impressive, and it reduces my workload. So I'll just do Windows H. Your grammar and your spelling. See, you can see it's not that accurate as the one in Word. It said grandma. So I'll just change that to grammar and spelling, okay, as an example. I can add some resources here. So if I've got resources here to support my students with that particular task, I might even link websites here. So I'll go to the BBC website. Say this is one of the links to information. So I'll just copy that over here. I'll go back to Teams. I'll just paste that, and I'll say, all right, there you go, attach. So there's an attachment here, a link to support my students with that particular task. I can add additional sort of handouts over here, link, new, I can even do a new file. And we're going to come back to that, and I'll show you why. We can also upload things from our OneDrive. And that is really the advantage of Microsoft Teams over Zoom, in that because it's, it's one of the key Microsoft products, and it's a fairly new app. It's probably 3.5 years old now, and it's their fastest growing app ever in Microsoft history. And it has, I think, about 115 million active users. So what I'm trying to say here is that it works really well because it integrates all the different Microsoft 365 apps. So you can imagine you can do, the Word, the PowerPoint, the Excel, all fits really well together with Microsoft Teams. So we've just put a link. As you can see, we can go over here and upload other links. We can also assign it not just to this one group, but we can assign it also to other groups. So this is really reducing our workload. We don't have to go to each team and, go through this whole process. We can assign this assignment to all our groups at the same time. Makes life much easier. We can even put a date due. So we can click on this calendar icon here, and we say we want you to submit it on the 25th of February. We can click on edit additionally. And what we can do is schedule this to assign in the future. So this is a Saturday night, imagine. I don't want to post it out, so I'd rather post this out on a Monday morning. So I'll click on Monday morning here, and I can choose 9 o'clock over here. And you can change these settings so they're always the default, by the way. So you can always say, you know what, all my assignments are scheduled on a Monday at 9 o'clock. You can, that's the date due. And you can even have a close date. When you choose this, this is basically a hard deadline. They cannot submit after this close date. So depending on what your course is and how you feel, you may choose this or you may not. So I'll just untick this just to let you know you've also got all of these options. So I'll click on done, right? And that's absolutely fine. Okay, all good. And I'll just click on assign. As easy as that. When we click on assign, you'll see that in a few seconds, a notification, there is a notification is going to be sent to this particular team that there has been an assignment set for you. And what the students will do then is either they can click on the assignments tab or click on view assignment, and they'll see their assignment. This is, of course, the teacher view. But say I wanted the student view, what you'll do is if I click on those 3 dots, I can click on the student view. This is what it would look like from the student perspective, except over here, there'll be a button where I think it'll say upload task or something along those lines. Now, also in terms of accessibility, and I did touch on this, they've also integrated the Immersive Reader within Teams. So the Immersive Reader is one of those game-changing technologies they've introduced and wonderful for students with learning needs and also dyslexia. So if we click on the Immersive Reader, I haven't shared the sound. I'm not sure if you can do it after the fact. I'm not sure if you can. Do I? But the fact of the matter is that if I click on play, you can't hear it because I don't think I've shared the sound when I first shared my video. I'm sure you can after retrospectively, but I don't know how to do it right now. So, but anyway, quite a natural language that it's speaking out. You can change the background, you know, and you know that helps for people with dyslexia. You can click on syllables. You can even do one-line reading ruler, and you can even change this whole language, this whole document to, you know, to up to 60 languages, I think. All right, so that's the assignments in a nutshell. So any questions so far?
No.
No?
No, that's good.
Everyone happy with that?
Can I ask a question about
Of course you can,
assignments?
yeah.
It's quite a specific question. So when the students have handed in their assignments and you're giving feedback, when you put comments onto the Word document that they've submitted, can they see them, or can they only see them when you click return? So let's say I did half the marking today, then went back to it tomorrow. Could they see the bit that I'd marked up to that point?
That's a really good question, and I'm not you know, 100% sure if I answered that.
Okay.
So I would suspect the answer is probably no, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right, so I don't know how. It's a really good question, though. I suspect the answer is no.
See, I have a specific situation where I have an assignment that's submitted early in the year. It gets marked and then they do a final piece at the end of the year, but the examining board don't allow them to see the assessment until the end.
So what happens? Why can't you return it to them?
Because they're not allowed to see any of the assessment until the end of the year, because by returning it to them, that's counted as one submission.
I see. Okay, I have an idea.
Okay.
So the idea is this. So you open up their assignment, right?
Yep. Yep.
You mark it using the comments
Yep.
in your desktop version of Word. And then you'll do a save as.
Which is what I've done to get around it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And then send it to them that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So that's one way of creating an assignment. We're going to look at another way that I think is really also very interesting in creating an assignment. So in this example that we did, they have to upload a Word document. But if I click on create and go to assignment again, I quite like this here. Because online, we're trying to reduce as much ambiguity as possible. And what do I mean by that? When I give out tasks to my students, what normally happens is that when it comes back, I find that they've missed a number of things that I thought were clearly explained. But, you know, they've decided to miss them, right? So if I say now, English task 2, right? And then you remember the categories, I can put it underneath that category again. I can use the Windows H. Please complete this template and check your spelling and grammar. Yeah, not as good as that, but I still rely on this a lot. Please complete this template and check your spelling and grammar. All right, so that's that. This time, I'm going to add a resource, right? And like I did last time, but this time it's going to be a new file. And when I click on a new file, it'll be a Word document. And I'll say task 2. And I'll click on add. Now, by default, students can't edit this. But I would like them to edit the template that I provide. So on the far right, we click on those 3 dots. And we say students edit their own copy. So when students can edit their own copy, what I'll do is I'll click on this document. And now I'm going to provide a template for them. So for example, I'll put a table here. And I'll do this. And I'll say item 1 as an example. Right, and what I'll say, explain. You know what? Yeah, so actually verb. They have to explain these things, okay? You get the idea and they explain it here. So what that means is now when the students open this document, they will have this available and they'll have to go in there and then explain it. All right, I would normally put a table on the top. So here's the table above, and I'll say, you know, whatever it is, item, so they know what to do, explain, okay? Then I might even, you know, change this heading over here, the cell, right, and make that bold. So I'll format it, makes it look really nice. And then when they come in here now, right, so obviously change all of these things, and then I'll click on assign. And then now when they click here, right, I'll go back to those 3 dots and click on student view. And you can see now when they click here, what they do, the student will come in here, edit this document, complete this and submit it. And I would have provided the template for them. That means all the work that they submit, at least they've covered the criteria. Not they passed it, but at least they've covered it. Do you think that would be useful in your situations? Yes, okay, great. I didn't even know there was a thumbs up there, but thank you for that feedback, Lynn. Okay, so additionally, what you can do, and I'm not sure if you've explored this idea, is that you can start using rubrics in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on edit assignment here. And then over here, you've got this thing called a rubric. For those that have never use the rubric or don't know what it is, it's something that they use quite a lot in universities and around the world. So if I just say define rubric, right, let's see, a set of instructions or rules. Okay, so let's get a better definition here. Or if anyone wants to jump off the mic and explain what a rubric is and if they use it, you know, in their teaching and learning, please do let us know.
I use it for the grading system. So the majority of assignments I'd be marking would have pass, merit, distinction, or a pass, refer and fail. So I would set up a rubric that was based around that.
Yeah, there you go. And what do you think of the idea of a rubric?
Was that a question for me? Sorry.
Yes, it was.
Yes, well, I like it because it makes it very visible for the students, the learners, and I know exactly where I'm up to with my marking as well and what they need to resubmit, etc.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it allows me to analyse the data as well, you know, in terms of the percentage that are getting passes, merits and distinction.
Very good, yeah. So how would you set one up? So if I went now, so if you click on add rubric, you can new rubric over here, or you can upload one, but it has to be a CSV file. So if somehow you've collaborated with your colleagues on a CSV file, which is essentially an Excel file, you can upload one here, but you can create one from scratch. So here's an example. So it really depends on how you want to do it. So if you had a criteria, you can leave it as excellent, good, and you can put the excellent criteria in there and the item. But you could also do it, I guess, in another way. So basically you could, so what we'll do is we'll say no points for that. What we can do, let's see. Can we do it that way? I'm not sure. Do jump in, Louise, please, if you've got any ideas. Will that make sense? I'm not sure. Let's delete that. No, that might not make any sense, but you can play around with it to see how you can speed mark, and that's what people do. And of course, there are lots and lots of examples of a rubric here, and you can amend them and change it to what you want, but typically this is what it would look like. Let's see some others. Zoom in to show you that. And obviously with this one, this is very detailed and it does take some effort and time to create the rubric, but in the long term, it makes your life easier. And also your students will know what they're being marked against. But you can see these ones are very, very detailed here. But I've seen examples where they just say, you know, pass, merit, distinction, or do you know, or not passed, or whatever it is. So it really depends how far you want to go with that.
A lot of that I would normally take from the assessment criteria from whichever board it was.
Your awarding body.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Takes a while, but it really is worth it in the long term, because when your students submit their work, you can mark the work based on that rubric. And then just, for example, in a PowerPoint presentation, the rubric will show up on the top. You can select the slide and select which, if it's a pass, fail, or merit. So really, really interesting there. We're going to take this one step further and we're going to jump to Microsoft Forms. So I'm just going to go to forms.office.com. And what Forms is, for those that have never used it, it's a very easy, let me repeat that, very easy, but very powerful survey, poll, and assessment tool. So you can create formative assessments with Microsoft Forms. So let me know in the chat pane, how familiar are you with Microsoft Forms? 0 to 10, with 10 being an expert. Let me know, please. So I'll know how fast I should just go through creating a quiz. All right, so those that have never heard of Microsoft Forms, I really highly encourage you to go and explore Microsoft Forms. It's very similar if you've used Google Forms, very similar. There's quite a few tools out there that do the same thing, but because this is integrated within Teams, it's a fantastic tool. So let me just show you how easy this is, right? So I'm just going to click on New Quiz, right? And this one is going to be capitals of the world, right? I'm going to click on Add New, and I'll say, and remember me and my dictate. What is the capital of France? All right, there you go, dictated that. It's clever enough that if I write London here, it will suggest other answers. So it speeds up the process of me creating a quiz. And all I need to do, I didn't write the right answer. And it's good that I'm good at geography. So I'll write the right answer. And all you have to do, by the way, is just click on that correct answer there. That's it. And now it will be marked. All right, as easy as that. Look, just click on the correct answer. If you've got multiple answers here, you need to switch that on and click on that, right? Really easy stuff. Okay, what's the capital? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate this, copy question. So I've got 2 questions, and I'll just change that to Spain. Okay, make life easier. You know, we're trying to reduce our workload, so we'll just say Madrid here, and that's the correct answer there. I'll click on the Add New Answer, and this time it'll be text. So far I've chosen the multiple choice. This is going to be text. I'll say, and you know what? I'll just come in here and copy that. I'll come in here and paste that. And this time they have to type it. Why would I want to do that? Maybe I just want to make sure they know how to spell Madrid. So now they have to spell Madrid. It's a required answer, and I want all of these required, actually. All right, there you go. So it's as easy as that. I can even make it look prettier, so I'll change the theme. I can even change that theme there. Click on preview. This is what it looks like on a mobile phone, mobile responsive. That's what it looks like. And did you know, by the way, just in case, if I go to YouTube, and I click on Only Fools and Horses, one of my best British comedies here. So if I click on share, and I'll click on that over here, copy, and I go back to Microsoft Forms. Did you know that you can actually add a video to your form? So if I click now on rating, I'll choose rating. So if I click on rating and I'll say, please rate this video, and I like 10 stars.
So next time you call me, I can pick.
Hello, hi. Sorry, so do you have a question? Okay, so we just inserted the question that says, please rate this video, and I put it as 10 stars. If you look towards the far right, we can insert media here. And if we click on video, we can just paste that. As easy as that, and add. Now we've just inserted Del Boy and Rodney into this quiz. Isn't that fantastic? So now we've done that, right? Lovely. What's this got to do with our assignments? If we go back to the assignments now, this time I'm going to click back. I'm just going to cancel that. This time I'm going to go to assignments. I'm going to create an assignment, but this time it's going to be a quiz. So when I click on quiz, that quiz, Del Boy, wasn't Del Boy, sorry, it's capitals of the world, is going to appear, and I click on next. Right, and I'll say, I can even do Windows Plus, If you do Windows period, did you know you get these emojis here? All right, a little fun there. And then we can obviously change these settings and we can assign. As easy as that. Now, in a few minutes or a few seconds, that capitals of the world is going to show up here. So I'm going to click on View Assignment. Right? If I click on those three dots, I click on Student View and then click here. And now we have a quiz with a form as an assignment. And that's really the power of forms in Teams. Any questions so far?
No, that was good.
Okay, great. So we've covered the assignments bit. You can see how I think, in my opinion, so easy, you know, to create assignments, and you can see the integration of forms inside Teams, right? We're going to take this a step further, and now we're going to look at the class notebook, because this has been described as an advanced Teams session. So let's have a look at that. So this is the class notebook, right? I know, and I do appreciate that there'll be quite a few of you that have never used the class notebook. Let me know how familiar you are with the class notebook. 0 to 10 in the chat pane, please, with 10 being an expert using the class notebook. Let me know, please. Okay, so what is OneNote, or what is the class notebook? Think of it, for those that have never used it, as a 3-ring binder. So if we just do a search on a 3-ring binder, think of it as this, but with sections and pages. I've never been able to get a great page. Better. Not great. Let's see. I would love to get a picture once of something, 3-ring binder with sections. How about that? Let's see what comes up here. Yeah, okay, not bad. Think of the class notebook as this. All right. You've got the ability to give each of your learners a class notebook, a 3-ring binder. So if you manage to use that analogy, you'll understand what this is. We have now the ability to give each of our learners, how many learners do we have in this team? Do you remember? If I click on those 3 dots and click on Manage Team, I can see that we have 4 students in there. So going back to our general channel, I'm going to click on the class notebook. When I click on the class notebook, for the very first time, I have to set up a OneNote class notebook. So when I do that, it'll be a blank one. If I wanted to import one from a previously created notebook, I can say from previous existing notebook. But for now, I'm going to say blank notebook. Now, it gives you this information here, and it tells you about a number of sections, and they're worth looking at. So when you create a class notebook, what you have by default is 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 areas, right? 4 sections. The first section is your collaboration space. This is read and write. It means all your students and you can all collaborate in this space. Okay? Then you've got another section called your content library. This is read only. It means as a teacher, you would put materials in there and your students can access it, but they can only view it. They can't edit it. So it's like that class materials folder that we have in Teams. Then you also have a teacher only section. And this is a private space. Your students don't even know it exists. So it could be your launching area, your planning area. So this is where you would create the lesson plans. You would keep it in this area, and when it's finished, then you can push these out to your students. Then finally, you've got your student notebooks, and that's basically your student will get this 3-ring binder, right? So when we click in next, we have to decide what we want our sections to be called. What do we want our sections to be called here? So in my case, when my students come into the class, there's always a starter activity, a do now activity that they're supposed to focus on at the start of the lesson for about 10-15 minutes. After their starter activities, I might share my lesson plan with them. So, you know, my objectives, right? In the lesson, I'll expect my lesson to have lesson tasks where the students work on that. And then after the lesson tasks, once there'll be a lesson review, I always want my students to review the lesson, right? That's how it would make sense for me. Now, everyone is different, and you may want to organize or structure your lessons differently. To me, this makes sense, more or less, and it would also follow loosely how teachers are observed. You know, I'm sure we all get observed, you know, and all the rest of it. So basically, you know, there's a starter and then a recap, and then you share your lesson objectives. Then there's, you know, lesson tasks, individual, and then collect, you know, all that stuff. So that makes sense for me. I'll click on create. It takes a few minutes to set up. And that's it. I've just organized, I've just created my structure for my lessons. Any questions while this sets up? Any questions? All happy with that? 0 to 10, let me know, please. Okay. All right. Thank you for the feedback. So now we've created our class notebook, right? Remember that? So each of our students now has this class notebook. So if we go back to Teams and we go to the class notebook and we navigate to this icon that looks like a bookshelf or something like that. If I click there, do you remember we've got the collaboration space, the read and write area so our students can collaborate here. We got the content library. This is read only. So here I might place some materials that my students can access or even read. It could be a page, could be anything here, right? Then you got the teacher only section. Teacher only section is no one can see it except you. So here you would organize, manage, plan your lessons. Then each of your learners, can you see the learners here? And each of your learners will have how many sections? How many sections did we give them in our when we structured that?
4, I think it was.
4. So if we click on Brock, right, we can click on Brock and we can see the sections here. We've got starters, lesson plan, lesson tasks. It hasn't put it in order, but that's what it's done. So obviously they're empty, and by default, it's always an untitled page. Each of your students will have exactly the same. Do you see that? Each of your students will have exactly the same, right? Cool. Now, what's the point of all of this? What do we do with this? what we do with this is this. So basically in the teacher only section, this is what I would do. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing. I would replicate those sections in the teacher only. So here, my section name will be, what did I say? Starters, right? So in the teacher only section, I'm replicating exactly what's in my students' notebooks. So I'll go back here, add section, and this one is, remember, lesson plan. And then add section, and then this one is lesson tasks. And then finally, add section, it'll be lesson review, right? So we've just replicated those sections. So if I click on starters, right, starters, there's the untitled page. I'll come here and I'll say week 1, right, week 1. Here, I'll put my starter. So what do I want them to do in their starters? I don't know, an activity. So for example, it might be define the follow. And you know what? I encourage everyone to use tables when you do that, because you can group information and it looks so much nicer, because there's not much scope in making these pages look really nice. So basically, I would say, you know, and then, you know, as you've, gosh, what happened there? Bam, 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 you know, shading and all the rest of it definitely would. Oh, not this one. If I can spell that. Can I spell that? Yep. So that's what I would do. So here, right, this is my starter activity. I think if you open up this in your local version of OneNote, you get more options, but let's change the color. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? Yeah, I think, okay, bit better, not great, but a bit better. So anyway, let's just put a few words here. And this is where I'm going to embarrass myself with, let's see, do we have some great words here or not? Let's see. What level are we talking about? Okay, let's see here. Let's put harangue. Is it harangue? Yep. Define that. Bedlam. Fortitude. Right, copious. If I can spell that. Oops, why does it keep doing that? Not good. How do you spell copious with a U, don't you? Copious. Yep. And psychophant. Okay, how about that? Shall I carry on or not? Why does it keep doing that silly thing? How about a few words? Nebulous, nice word. Nebulous. What is wrong with this one? And what else? Servile. I like. Okay. All right. So now there's my starter activity. All right. Starter activity. You know, if you wanted to make it pretty, you'd go insert here and picture and online. I say timer. So I put 10 minutes. Let's see if we can come that there. Oh. That's nice. I'll put that because normally, not there, but normally, you know, my things would be 10 minutes. My starters. I don't know why it's gone in there. Come on. Okay, there. Cut. Control X. Well done. I'll just put it here. Come on. Come on. Why isn't it not there? Okay, how about there? No. Gosh, what's wrong with it? I'll go to insert. Picture again. Online. 10 minutes timer. Where are you? There you are. Insert. Okay, there. Any questions so far? Okay, and make that really big. What I'll do also, I mean, it's not great picture, it's just an example. I don't even like that white background. But what I'll do, can I make, ooh, I can't even make this as a background picture. So you might have to open it up in your local OneNote, because I thought you can make it a background picture. That's what I'm trying to do, just to make it look prettier anyway. It's not important for now. But here we go. We've just created a starter activity, right, in our area. So just say this is week 1. What we want to do now is we are going to push this starter activity to all our students' starter section, right? So how do we do that? We go to our staging area, the teacher only area. We click on start. That's week 1 here. And what we do is we click on the class notebook on the top. When we click on the class notebook on the top, we have the ability to distribute this page. So what we need to do is we need to click on distribute page. When we click on distribute page, it will ask us which section do we want to distribute this page to. So we need to distribute it to the starters section. So we click on starters, we click on distribute. It'll give us some indication to when this will be distributed here. When it reaches 100%, it says done. Now, if we navigate to our student starter activity, we will see week 1 here in each of their sections. So what your students will do now is they'll go to their week 1, and what they'll do is complete this here, and you will see in real time what they're doing. And all that learning is captured, and there's a starter activity, and after a few weeks, when you start using this, it'll be second nature to them and say, okay, go to your starter activity. And it's really interesting in that it also allows you to embed a number of things here. And what do I mean? So let's go back to our teacher only section. And then in the lesson tasks, I'll write week 1 again here. All right. And this time I'll go to insert table. And what we'll do is we'll insert that video of Del Boy. Is it Del Boy? Yeah. So if I click on, if I just grab that URL on the top and go back to meetings, go back, sorry, to the team. If I paste that, look what happens. Isn't that fantastic? It actually embeds the video in here. So I'm going to say, please right, and then I'll press tab, and there's write your answer here, right? And you know me and my formatting. I'll go and change the background here, make it bold, make it a bit larger, and then I want them to put their answer here. And then, because that's in my teacher only section, I go and do the same. So I'll go to the class notebook, I'll go distribute page, I'll click on distribute page. This time I'm going to distribute it in there, lesson tasks. So I click in that section there, distribute, wait a bit. Tells me when it's complete, done. So now I navigate to my students' lesson tasks, and I'll see the week 1 with the video and the task. Okay. So that, in a nutshell, is your class notebook. Any questions so far?
No, thank you.
No, liking it.
No,
Thank
thanks.
Okay, so we're going to move on now. And what you'll need to do on your end, once you start the teams, if you click on the plus sign on the top, you can add extra functionality to teams. One that I would advise you to add straight away off the bat is something called Insights. So what Insights is that it provides you with analytics about your students. What do I mean by that? Because I don't have any real students here, I'm not sure if we'll get any data here. Let's see. Let's see what it will provide. Not enough activity, which is quite unfortunate, because I can show you another view just to give you an idea. Obviously, I can't show you the class, one of my class, because of GDPR. But if we click on Insights here, and this is Insights outside of the team. So what this will give me is it will give me an overview of my students' activity or lack of it online. So if you give it a minute, so it tells me, so because I'm an owner of all of these teams, it gives me a bird's eye view of which of my learners is inactive, which ones have missed meetings, which ones have failed submitting work, and the rest of it. So it's just really good. This is the one outside of Insights, but if you install it inside of your teams, it gives you really detailed information overall, but also based on each student. All right, so that's Insight. It is a Microsoft product, so it's not like a third-party product. It's actually a Microsoft product, and it's only available in the class type team. Okay, then adding to that, if you click on the plus sign here, you've also got other apps that you can install. And one, and I'm not sure if you use this, you probably have heard of it. You can also install Kahoot, and Kahoot has a really slick integration within Teams. Really slick. I quite like it. It's unfortunate that we're not having this meeting in Teams, because we could have really interacted with all of that. I'm not sure. So over here, I'm going to add Kahoot. And basically, you know, for those that know Kahoot, there are literally thousands of Kahoots already created for you. So you don't even have to recreate the wheel. You can choose one that has been created for you. And then if I click, say, on play, I want to assign it for virtual classrooms. Play a live game together with learners over video. I mean, how exciting is this? So basically, at the start of the lesson, you're doing a Kahoot as a starter, maybe, right? So if I click on Kahoot, as easy as that, it'll open up Kahoot as a starter, and you can all play with this together. There is another way of doing it, of course, and you can assign it. So let's say we want to assign this, create. Because of the slick integration within Teams, right, it's been sent to the channel. So in a look at that, it's been sent, right? So if they open the challenge, it opens up the Kahoot in here, and your students are able to do that. So that's the integration, and there are literally quite a lot of different integrations here. One that we use quite a lot is, and it's within your, you know, Microsoft apps here. It's called, so if we go to office.com and then click on the app launcher on the top left, we've got something called Stream. And I'm sure some of you have come across Stream. And what Stream is basically your YouTube, your corporate YouTube platform, right? So you know YouTube hosts videos, but this is especially designed for your organization. And what Stream is an intelligent video hosting platform. You can host your videos. And what I love about this is that when you upload your videos, it generates this transcript here. And with my accent, it does about 95% accuracy. You can, however, edit the transcript and even make it more accurate than that. What I love about this is that you can search through the transcript and it will find where in the video you've mentioned that keyword. When you click there, it's hyperlinked to that particular part of the video. Really, really powerful stuff. Additionally, what's so interesting about this is that, remember Microsoft Forms? We created a quiz, didn't we? Remember that quiz? If I click on share and click on copy, I've just copied that link. So if I go back to stream here, that stream, can you see where it says interactivity? If I click on interactivity, it allows me to overlay this video with a Microsoft form. So I just do a Control V, and in here, I'll say, you know, check learning maybe, and I add to timeline. So now if we zoom into here, you'll see there's this dot here, and that's the form. So when the students get to that particular part of the video, the form will appear. Right? Imagine a video within a video. You wouldn't want to do that, but you can see the potential of this. And then you got these questions. So you can check for learning. So your videos are no longer a passive experience, but an interactive one. And then the results will show up in your Microsoft area. So why am I showing you this? Because if you go to your groups, and that team, what was that team that we called it? ICT subgroup C. It will create a group for you without a doubt. All right, so is it this one? This one, isn't it? Is that the same as that? We have to make sure it is. Yep. So it created this group for us, right? And we're gonna, this will be the last thing I show you, right? So it created this group for you. And you can see there's a group for you here. Now, why is this useful? Because if you click on channels here, channels, and what we can do is we can create a new channel. So I'm going to call this, what's the name of that team here? Group C. Let's just call it 100. What is it called? Let's see. I don't have to name it the same, but it just makes sense. Let's just call it, let's call it Group C, just to make life easier. Group C, create. So now I've created a channel in Stream. If I click on those three dots and click on share, it gives me the link to that channel. So I'm going to copy that link to that channel. Remember, this was described as advanced. All right, remember that. So if I just click back on that team here, right, I'll go back to my plus sign, and there's an app called Stream here. So what I'm doing essentially is I'm adding that channel that I just created in Stream. Because I've copied the channel link, I just do Control V and it recognizes that's the channel. And I can say now, you know, videos, save. What has this done? It's created a tab here. It's created a tab with that channel. That's essentially what it's done. So any videos that I have in Stream, any videos, let's go and find a video. Let's go and find a video. For example, this video, week 3. So I want to add this video to that channel. So what do I do? Where it says on the far right, add to group channel, I can click on share with, I can click on channels, and here, remember the channel name? I gave it a really easy name, Group C. And now it shows up, I click there, and I'm adding that video to that channel. So what will happen now is if I press F5, that video, because I'm refreshing the page, that video will show up in here. And that's like what I'm doing is I'm providing a very seamless experience for my learners. So any videos that are recorded, they know that it's going to appear here. All right. And that's really the power of all of these tools. And I know that was a bit complex and a few steps to get that, but it's also just to show you what is possible in Teams and what you can do. And I do appreciate, you know, if someone was showing this to me first time, wow, that's a lot. But the idea is that, oh, I didn't know I could do that. That's really interesting. And then maybe pursue that in your own time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we've got 15 minutes, I believe. What time do we finish this? Or 10 minutes? So I always do this. So please indulge me in this. Oops, is it Holex? Yep, great. So I'm going to create a poll. And what we do is open text. Yep. So please, I always do this. So please describe this session in a sentence or two. Right. It's just feedback for myself and obviously for the folks that organize this. And any lovely feedback we just put on I put on my website. So I'll do that now and I'll copy that for everyone here. So there's the link. I will also, yep. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Oh, present. Just to let you, that's how you do it. So you can jump into that, but I put the link there for everyone. Yep. So what I'll do, I know there's a few folks that have asked me a few questions. What I'm going to do, because I do this obviously as part of my own company, not that I'm trying to promote it here, but I've had a few questions. So I have my own sort of training company. It's called Transform Education.co.uk. Right. So please do go to that website. It's very easy. It's just transformeducation.co.uk. And there's a contact form. Just contact me through there. I'll get the email. So I think if you click on contact over here, there's a contact form and just let me know and we'll get that through. Because I have delivered for adult learning services through my own training, company here. And we have delivered, these sessions to adult learning providers. Let me copy that for you in the chat pane. Is that all right? I hope that's okay. And obviously, if you want, my email, I'll private message you that. And if you could, so we got 10 minutes to answer any of your questions. All right, we've got 10 minutes, so please do ask, and then I could even, recap a couple of things here or there. Okay, let me try pause share. No problem, Kerry. Thank you. Where is pause? I'm going to stop the recording now.